What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I would like to welcome you all to another edition of Wayne's Perspective, where we operate in discipline, decency, integrity, and respect. As most of you may be aware, a few weeks ago I did a video talking about the United States Postal Service with a focus on my state of Virginia, where I briefly talked about changes that were going on, as well as those who were going to get involved and who was going to do what. And I did say that I was going to come back with an update. So speaking of which, I'm going to go right ahead and share my screen with this particular update for everyone. All right. So this is courtesy of WTVR Channel News 6 in Richmond. And you see the headline there, man in charge of U.S. Postal Service admits rollout of Virginia Regional Distribution Center was a disaster. And I think I know which man in charge they're talking about. So we're going to get right into it. Credit to Elizabeth Holmes at WTVR for this particular article. All right, let's see. So, following months of complaints about slow or missing mail, Virginia lawmakers are finally hearing directly from the man in charge of the U.S. Postal Service. U.S. Senators Tim Kaine, Democrat Virginia, and Mark Warner, Democrat Virginia, as well as U.S. Representative Jenna McClellan, Democrat Richmond, met with Postmaster General Louis DeJoy, bless his heart, who agreed that the USPS's rollout of the regional processing and distribution center was a disaster. Well, of course it would be a disaster. I mean, not that I'm celebrating that, but oh my God, man, this guy should not be in this position. The rollout was part of a 10-year plan to streamline the mail service, making mail delivery more efficient. However, an inspector general report found a quote unquote sharp decline in mail delivery after the change was made, citing the lack of clear guidance as to how the rollout would happen and issues with staffing and management before the major change. No surprise there. The mounting issues with the rollout were brought before the U.S. Senate Postal Service Committee, with Postmaster General DeJoy apologizing for the issues, yet not budgeting on the change due to budget constraints. It is plant by plant, person by person, driver by driver that has to take on a new way of working and thinking, DeJoy said during the roughly 2 hour hearing. And it's easy to criticize when you show up at the crime scene when you see the damage. Whatever, God. His meeting with Virginia lawmakers came on the heels of the hearing, with both Senators Kaine and Warner applauding DeJoy for taking accountability. Okay, well, that's usually how it starts. We have seen that this problem was not only the implementation of this new initiative, but also something that I'm not sure we have been made fully aware of, that there have been bankruptcy in both Washington and Atlanta, contractors who did part of some of the back office operations during the real height of the crisis between December and February. It exacerbated that decline, Senator Warner said. Warner also acknowledged issues among USPS that are not just specific to Central Virginia, but are considered issues nationwide. Let me acknowledge that the Postal Service across the board is facing a crisis. We have a dramatic decline of first class mail delivery as more and more people communicate online. We have a postal service that, frankly, was built for a different kind of mail delivery system. And Warner said, now, I can agree with that to a certain extent. Both Kane and Warner shared their frustrations over transparency from USPS officials. We stress that you have got to keep the confidence of your consumers. And when there was this stiff arming of not having the Postal Service even be willing to listen to consumer complaints, it undermines confidence. I agree with that, Warner said. You undermine confidence, the less people use the mail, less people use the mail means less revenue. And that means a fiscal hole. The post office goes down even worse. And yes, I agree with this because there was, and I talked about this in a prior video because there was a time when I think there was a hearing or a town hall that was supposed to be presented with the USPS, but they declined it for some reason, which was a bad move in retrospect. I think, they should have had that meeting to hear what the consumers have to say, because after all, we're the ones that got to get this mail and deal with the changes and all of that. So why not speak with the people? I mean, that's what I would have done. But let's move on. All right, we need to continue to meet about every 60 days to monitor this performance to make sure it continues to improve, Kane said. One suggested an ongoing criminal investigation has led to the removal of several USPS employees. I didn't know that. Um, Crimes against mail carriers are also at the top of mind, as it could be a contributing factor to pervasive staffing shortages. Yeah, that's true. Based on information shared by USPS officials between March 18th, 2023, and now, there have been at least six different reports of assaults or robberies at a mail carrier in Richmond, Chesterfield, and Henrico. Two of those assaults resulted in injuries to the character. Now, see, this takes me back to something that I said in a prior video again. I remember a time when Monday through Friday, the mail was always on time. Usually, the mail person usually came around 3 o'clock or 3:30 in the afternoon. You rarely, if ever, saw any mail trucks out past that time. And I don't ever recall a time seeing mail trucks out in the evening, whether it was dark or not. You just never saw that. And then on the weekends, specifically Saturday, you were accustomed to seeing your mail delivered like around 12 or 12 p.m. or something like that, if my memory serves me correctly. And we don't see that now. Now you got mail coming so late and all of that, and it's like, I know things are supposed to change, but not like that. So it do take me back to a time when the mail was, for the most part, always delivered on time. And people didn't have to worry, but most of us have to worry now. All right. I think that's it for this article. Yeah, that's it right there. So I just wanted to come through with this particular update. We'll hold on, let me check. Yeah, this this article is over with. So with that being said, y'all, we'll see what happens here. It's clear to me that there needs to be some changes across the board. Number one, they got to get rid of Louis DeJoy. That guy should not be in this position, and something needs to be put in place where the president should be able to make some type of decision based on this person's handling of the job, because like I said before, Joe Biden unfortunately can't go in and fire Louis DeJoy. This is something that will have to come from the board of directors. And I think right now, as we speak, the board of directors is made up mostly of Republicans. So they're probably not going to oust this guy, even though he should have been ousted as far back as when he first started. Because all he's doing, excuse my French, all he's doing is tearing up shit. But then again, that's what you get when you're installed by the likes of Donald Trump. But like I said, this guy needs to go. They need to put somebody in that position who is serious about the job and who can get things done and make the U.S. Postal Service more productive instead of the mess that we get now. And from the looks of it, if he's not ousted, he's going to be in there for another few years, which is crazy. And it's also crazy to know that if this was in reverse, you know, Donald Trump would, and this is no credit to him. If there was somebody in that position that Donald Trump didn't like, he would fire them and wouldn't even care about the backlash. Whereas if Joe Biden was to do this, it would be a backlash, you know, and he probably would have to go back on his decision or something like that. But like I said, Biden can't outright fire him. This has to come from the board of directors. And the way that it's looking now, this guy is going to continue his whole damn tenure, no matter what it's doing to the damn postal service. But I digress. So at the end of the day, y'all, if you're in Virginia, let me know what you think. Have you seen any issues with your mail personally? Do you know anybody who is experiencing issues with their mail? Just let me know what you think. And also let me know if you remember how things were back then when it came to getting your mail on time. And last but not least, y'all, I would definitely be in support of some legislation to ensure a consistently functioning mail system. And I also would be, I wouldn't say front and center, but I would be on the front lines with somebody who would be making the case that Louis DeJoy has to go. Clearly, that guy has to go. He should not be in this position, like I said, and he should not be able to serve his entire tenure as Postmaster General, because the post office is going to decline more and more under his leadership. But what else is new when you got somebody like that in that position? I digress. But anyway, y'all, if you like what you heard and you're ready to become part of Team Discipline, go ahead and hit that like button and drop some comments if you're feeling the content, like I just said. And last but not least, hit that subscribe button along with the bell so you're notified when I drop new videos. And until next time, my people, take care of yourselves and remember, the power of the mind is